Hey everybody, Tom Berry with Investor Loan Source, and I've got a little talk I'd like to do for the next couple of minutes I call stacking gold bars. Now, this is a concept that I created to actually train my tenants back 12 years ago when I started adding rental properties to my portfolio. And back then, Melissa and I ran the business ourselves. We didn't have any employees at all, which means we didn't have any managers. And we also did not employ a property management company. We did it all ourselves, self-managed as it's called. I don't recommend it, but that's what we did. So back then, as when I would talk with a tenant, I told them a story. And this story, I think, really led to us having better quality tenants. It's a story that I then started teaching my managers when we started our property management company and we were hiring managers. And it's a story that I tell to real estate investors today that are building their rental portfolio. So the idea and the concept comes from the fact that tenants typically don't really value, at least not in the lower incomes, the rental property that they live in. And oftentimes they treat it poorly. Y'all have heard the horror stories of how a landlord would get back a property and it's all tore up and so forth. And it also is instructive to real estate investors who also don't have the proper perspective on their assets, meaning their properties. So stacking the gold bars is a concept that I use to train that says this: some people invest in gold. And I don't know any of those people, but I'm sure they're out there, right? We hear of people buying gold bars. And if you were a gold bar investor, each time you got a hold of one of these new assets, you would take care with that asset, would you not? You wouldn't just throw it around and leave it laying on the counter as you walked away. You wouldn't do anything haphazard with it. You would probably take this gold bar and you'd buff it, you'd shine it up a little, and then you'd probably have a big safe or a vault somewhere that you would open up and you'd put that gold bar in there and you'd watch that stack grow and you'd lock it down. You wouldn't share that combination with anybody because you know the value of that gold bar. You're a gold bar investor and you want to protect your investments. As we look at real estate investors and their tenants, we don't see that same kind of care with the other type of asset we call houses. Or we could call it apartments. We could call it real estate. But in fact, I am a real estate investor. Many of you are as well. We don't invest in gold bars. We don't stack gold bars in a safe. We buy real estate. We buy property. But when we buy it, do we give it the same care? Do we give it the same buffing? Do we give it the same safety we would give a gold bar? No, we don't. So what do we do with it as real estate investors? Well, many of us suck it dry. We suck it dry. We don't put any money back into it. We don't take care of it. When there's a problem, we patch it. We put a Band-Aid over it. Would we do that with a gold bar if it had a problem? No, we wouldn't. But we don't in our minds see the value of what we have. I don't know what a gold bar is worth today, but I can assure you I have pieces of property that are worth way more than a gold bar. And you do too. My question to you is, do you protect those properties? Do you care for those properties? Do you look at those properties as your gold bars? I don't think most of us do. And then we could take it a step further, which is where I got this whole gold bar concept. When I would meet with a tenant, back in the day when I did that, I would never ever, first of all, let the tenant know that I owned the property. That's a mistake, and I never made that mistake. I always told the property that a company owned it, and it did. They just didn't know it was my company. And I always told them that I worked for that company, and I did because I owned the company. But I would tell them an investment company owns this property, and this is their gold bar. By that, I mean this company invests in properties, and they're going to use these properties for their retirement one day. And if you treat this property any differently than that, I'll be forced, because I work for that company, to immediately get you out of this property and evict you. Do you think you could care for this property like it was a gold bar for these folks? And you would be amazed at the comments that I would get, because I also explained to them that I, as the manager, am going to take good care of that property as well, because it's somebody's retirement asset. And that means if there's something wrong, if there's a water leak, if there's a roof problem, if there's an AC that goes down, I'm going to take care of that, because we want to keep this asset in good shape for this investment company. Think about it from that standpoint. As you build your rental portfolio, you may even share that with your potential tenants. And I think you'll get much better quality tenants, but more importantly than that, you'll build a much, much more valuable real estate portfolio. Thanks for listening. If you'd like more information, go to our website at ils.cash, www.ils.cash, and we provide loans for rental properties and building a rental portfolio. See y'all at the top, and I'll see you on the next video.